Our top story this hour, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has signed a bill that will strip Disney of its self-governing status. The status had allowed the company to operate with a high degree of autonomy by being in a special tax district since 1967. Critics believe that this move comes after last year's public clash between DeSantis and Disney. Disney criticized DeSantis signing a bill which restricts teaching children about sexual orientation and gender identity in public schools, also dubbed the Don't Say Gay Law.
This is like Disney is a big business, and the Republican Party is now positioning itself, or this fringe of the Republican Party is positioning itself against business, which is contrary to the very goals that the Republican Party has long held. And so this is delicate. That they want to get close, but they can't burn themselves on the stove at the same time.
The new bill, which DeSantis signed into law, will enable the state of Florida to take over Reedy Creek Improvement District and allow him to appoint 5 supervisors to oversee traditional municipal services such as fire protection, public utilities, waste collection and road maintenance in the region where Disney World operates.
I mean, these are, decades of subsidies and benefits that have really accumulated to kind of this one powerful company, and now we're basically just on an even playing field. And what's good for SeaWorld is good for Disney, and that's just the way it's got to be.
This is also seen as broader effort by DeSantis to reform institutions which he believes have been hijacked by woke progressive activists, and addresses criticism that the arrangement gave Disney an unfair advantage over rivals.
My signature in this bill will also impose Florida law on this area, just like it's imposed on Universal Studios and SeaWorld and all these other places. And this bill and the structure that we've created in this bill will ensure that the municipal debt that's been racked up will be paid by Disney, not by Florida taxpayers.
Disney is one of the biggest employers in the state of Florida. With a 75,000 workforce, Disney drew 36.2 million visitors in 2021. According to reports, as DeSantis is expected to be gearing up for a presidential run, this high-profile legislative victory continues to push him to the front of the national Republican politics. For more on this, we're now being joined by Mr. Mark Marowitz, who is a political commentator and also professor at State University of New York Maritime College. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast.
Hi, looking forward to it.
Now, as I mentioned, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has signed a bill that will strip Disney of its self-governing status. First, let's talk about the self-governing status that provided Disney autonomy. What can you tell us about this?
Well, the state of Florida created this Reedy Creek District. It's kind of an anomaly, a strange political and legal entity, which allowed Disney to be like a self-governing little statelet within Florida. And this law now eliminates that. But really, this is a bigger story. It's really about DeSantis, the Republican Party, taking on Disney, number one, pushing forward certain political initiatives, as you mentioned, in connection with education of little children. But DeSantis is also reforming the education system in Florida. Why is he doing that? Because if you remember, Glenn Youngkin won the Virginia governor's race by supporting parental rights in schools. The Republicans understand that education is the big issue in American politics right now. What can be taught, what cannot be taught, and the allegation of the Party of Republicans that the Democrats, or what they call the woke progressives, are trying to demand that certain things should be taught, what you mentioned, gender issues, sexual orientation lessons to children, and other issues like that. This is where the culture war is coming to a head. And Republicans perceive that to be a very, very good issue for the 2024 election. And DeSantis is trying to position himself as the candidate of the Republican Party. So that's what this is really all about. it's taking on the Democrats and the progressives. And
Right.
Disney is just symbolic of that.
Right, absolutely. You're absolutely right. As I mentioned earlier, this move comes after last year's public clash between Disney and DeSantis, and at the core is inclusivity. So what sort of a response can we expect for this?
Well, what I've read now is that Disney took the position that it would not fight this law in the courts. I mean, I think it might have had a legal argument, but that would really, I mean, in terms of having the contract or that the district was set up by law, it's a lot of cases, even in the early period of American history, where contracts set up like this are actually pristine. But look, what he's done is he's using the power of the state to replace the board, to take over this thing, create a new district. And again, I think if Disney pushed this, it would have undermined their public image. You know, Disney's got a very nice, clean image in a way. You know, it's got all those nice Mickey Mouse and all that stuff, and they don't want to start becoming the bad guy. The bad litigant in court. And fighting DeSantis, I think, in Florida for Disney is very risky. DeSantis won his gubernatorial election by a big margin. He's very, very popular. So why would Disney do that? It's a public company, and so it doesn't want to diminish its reputation, and it feels that it can move on and make plenty of money as a corporation, even if it's in this new tourism district. At the end of the day, DeSantis is a tough one to challenge. Is he on the ascendancy? If he is, then this is his juggernaut, his campaign moving forward to fight what is really the culture war that is going to be the key element in the campaign in 2024.
In fact, I was just going to come to this. DeSantis is expected to be gearing up for a presidential run. How do you see this issue impacting his bid for presidency?
It's huge because the Democrats have sort of taken the view that they are the ones who are pushing forward progressive education, what you call these woke issues. And Republicans are coming in and saying, no, we want to make sure that we know what children are being taught. We don't like certain things being taught. We like other things being taught. And going back to the Virginia election, and that's really the key, this idea that parents have the right to say and have a say in what is taught in the schools. So in other words, what we have here is a real clash of culture. It really is.
Right.
And the place where this happens is in school. What we teach children is really the key element of how we develop our young people to join society and become active in society. And what they learn and what they think and how they think is really pivotal in creating a civil society. So the question is, what should we do? DeSantis has this particular point of view. Now, by the way, it could backfire on him, because again, the so-called woke progressives, the Democrats, could really launch, an anti-DeSantis campaign against him. He's really become a lightning rod for this,
Right.
what you call the "don't say gay" policy, and that could be risky too, because tolerance is also an important thing. So if he's seen as being intolerant and doesn't want children to get the full array of things that they should be learning, that could be very negative for him. He's taking a gamble here trying to be the Republican candidate. He also has to overcome Trump. I mean, that he hasn't done yet, but he's an ascendancy. He's really rising. DeSantis is rising. As he rises, he's going to be picking on issues that he feels have potential for him to aid his rise into the nomination of the Republican Party. And this one, fighting Disney and fighting the woke progressives, absolutely could be a winner, certainly in the minds of Republicans, no question about it.
All right. Well, Mr. Mark Merowitz, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with your insights on this.
It's a pleasure.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.